Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another fun episode of 1000 Gurus, where it is my desire to have great conversations with unique and interesting guests from various fields, backgrounds, and walks of life. So today's guest is Blessie Panopio. And let me read her bio. Born and raised in the Philippines, Blessie is a dancer, competitive singer, and content creator. She has 880,000 followers across her social media accounts, tens of millions of views across her videos, and is known internationally for her comedy, couple, and Filipino culture content. She was a choreographer for Shiro's first place 2024 K-Factor set. She enjoys karaoke during her spare time, dancing K-pop covers, and is a pun enthusiast. Although this episode was a lot of fun because I was able to feature my internet famous girlfriend, it was also the strangest interview I've done so far. We've been together for almost 5 years now, and unlike previous interviews where I'm genuinely learning about someone, I felt like I knew most of the answers before I asked the questions, which I guess is a good thing. Also, a good chunk of this interview covered the JR and Blessie brand, so I found myself answering half of the questions myself, or at least throwing in my perspective as well as after hers. But regardless, it was fun to be able to showcase her journey, success, and mindsets with the audience so that you all might admire her as much as I do. So without further ado, please enjoy this episode with Blessie Marie Panopio. Hello and welcome back to another episode of 1000 Gurus. Today's guest is Blessie Marie Panopio. Yay, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I know we just met, so I did research on the way. Yep. Yeah, so I'll go into how I know you. So, no, just kidding. This will sound like our dating history. This is an interesting interview because I already kind of know all of the answers. I mean, we've been together almost 5 years now, so yeah, I already know, but this is for everyone else. So yeah, anyways, so we met at the K-pop Academy, which is right across from the Source in Buena Park. I had taught a BTS K-pop class, and then you had taken the class. And then sometime later, you started teaching there, and then as well. And that was right after my time slot. And then eventually we started hanging out. I invited you to sing karaoke with my friends because, you're Filipino and she probably likes karaoke. And and then we started dating later that year. And then since then we've been together, and then you've worked at an optometrist's office, you worked at a cafe, you went to college in Washington State, also high school, right? Or part of high school?
Yes, uh-huh.
And then last year you joined the K-pop cover team Shiro in the 626 area, and I had interviewed Shirley, one of your directors, and then you've also been singing and dancing for forever, like most Filipinos, and you've won singing competitions, some against little kids and some against people your own age, and you're also and you're also dating this really good-looking, smart, charismatic, talented dude. I wonder who that is. It's me. Anyways, yeah.
That is me.
Anything else or clarifications?
Well, yep, that was pretty much how we met each other. I just kept saying yes to everything that you invited me to. It also helped that I didn't have too many friends, so...
Yeah, so dating tip, date someone who has no friends and is super available and says yes to everything.
Yeah.
One of the, I guess we can get into this, but one of the the times when I'm like, oh, okay, maybe she might be the one, right? When you're kind of dating, is I invited her to watch the One Piece movie that came out that year, and she doesn't really watch One Piece. This is One Piece, the shirts that I always wear in my podcast. It's my favorite anime, and so she doesn't really watch One Piece, and I was like, hey, you want to watch this movie? And she's like, sure, and I'm like, she's willing to watch One Piece for me. All right, she must like me then, because One Piece is a crazy experience.
It is a very long anime that I even personally have not finished.
Exactly. So she hasn't finished, but she still, she still watched the movie with me, so that was good.
I did. And any other movie. I think we watched the live action together too.
The live action?
And
yeah. Netflix, that came out a couple years ago.
Yep.
Cool. So I guess we can go straight into the first topic, which is basically your origin story, family dynamic, main influences. So where were you born and raised? What was it like in your household? What were your career aspirations and your main influences growing up?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in the Philippines. I moved to Washington State first in 2006. We lived mostly with my aunt's family because they petitioned our family. Petition meaning you're trying to get your family from your home country to your current country. And we lived with her for 10-ish years. Yeah, and then I moved to California.
So that was when you went to move to Washington, you were in what?
I was in 2006. And then I was...
in high school?
I went into 8th grade.
Oh, okay.
But I was already in high school in the Philippines, which is, because the school system is a little different back then. And so, yeah, I moved to California in 2016. Ironically, on your birthday. I remember that. April 5th. And I didn't meet you yet. But anyway, yeah. I moved to California because my dad was living here. And then later on, after a few years, I started joining Shiro, the dance team that I'm currently in. And what did I miss? Is it studying? Oh,
Yeah, so you moved to Washington
mm-hmm.
from the Philippines and you went into like middle school or end of that, beginning of high school, and then you went to college up there in Washington State too, right? What did you study? What was your like career aspirations? What did you want to do at that point?
I studied IT, which is a degree I'm currently not using,
Me
but
neither.
I mainly wanted to be a graphic designer. That was why. And my school at the time only offered that, didn't offer a graphic design course. So I just went to something, the closest thing to that one, I guess, like web design. So, yes, that was my goal as a college student. But right now I work at an insurance company. And as far as like other dreams and aspirations, yeah, I mainly wanted to do content creation also on the side. And serendipitously, when we met, we both wanted to create content and we had, I don't know, similar ideas on as to what content we could create, and whatever we were posting, we just went with what resonated with the people, with the audience that we reached. And so that's, I would say, how JR and Blessie was created.
Yeah. We'll get back to Jaron Blessie stuff later on, like content creation. But so you originally wanted to go into IT or you said graphic design. And then so you didn't do that. But then when you moved back to California, then you like were working in various jobs and whatnot. And then now like in like insurance. But also, I mean, I know your backstory, but like you were also like when you're in the Philippines, you were training in singing and whatnot. And then you also did some, like video editing here and there just for fun, like with your family and whatnot. So at that point in time, I guess like from college to post college, what was like your kind of trajectory of what you wanted to do? What were your aspirations?
Well, what was it? Yeah, I went in the Philippines. Sorry, what was the first question?
I mean, because I know that you were also like training and singing and you did
there we go. It's
competitions.
training and singing. Sorry, I lost that thought.
Yeah.
Yes, my mom did put me through voice lessons. Just, I guess, most Filipino kids. But because my mom heard me sing one time and I was like, oh, let me like have you improve on that skill. And so, which I did 3 like levels in the voice lesson company that I went through. So that was fun. I got to do some performances. That's how I would say my training for like public performances, like performing in public. And so that's how I would say I'm comfortable with like dancing or singing and on a stage now. And so, yeah, dreams as far as like video editing and stuff, I've also been like into, well, dance covers. That's what I was doing before. And like little montages of like when I travel with family or like with friends, those are the, like, I would say my practice for video editing. And so that's how I like, I guess, got better with that. And that also helped with like current content creation skills that I can apply.
Right. So then did you ever want to become some sort of like artist, either singing, dancing, or something like that? Because you were into dancing and K-pop, and we can also go into like your experience there, but then also, singing. And so I know you mentioned like college and then post-grad, but what was your thought process then? Did you want to do something in like the performing arts, or did you have these skill sets, obviously?
Yeah, I would say I wish I could have started like YouTube back in the day. And then now I'm just, I guess, catching up on that, like trying is a big word. Trying to create content on my own and with you as well. So yeah.
What were some of your main influences like growing up in like that sort of space? In content creation, like singers, dancers, YouTubers, whatnot. What were some of your influences that informed kind of like the stuff that you do today?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Tori Kelly. I just watched her concert recently.
You guys are besties, right?
Yes, we are. I met her like, I want to say 7 times now. Like the meet and greets.
Best friends. You don't meet non-best friends 7 times.
That's right. Yeah. So she's just I would say, one of the most powerful like greatest vocalist of this generation, I would say. But anyway, her as a singer, as far as other content creation, I love Megan Batoon. She's also a dancer, also half Filipino, does like dancing and interior design for her content, stuff like that. Jen M is also a person that I follow online. I just love the aesthetic of her videos. It's so like when you watch her long form content, that is like the type of content that I would like to do eventually in the future, because it's just like very relaxing. Like the graphics, the editing, they're very pleasing to watch and see and to experience throughout the whole video.
So are there any other like other creators that kind of influenced you or informed like how you approach content creation or like the style that you have or your sense of aesthetics or humor or anything like that, like artistry?
Yeah, as far as like when I'm editing videos, I always try to like match like the music with like whatever you're seeing, just how like little details like that, like even like subtitles, like the captioning and everything. I try to make it so it's a very enhanced experience for the watcher, the viewer, so they're more interested to watch it throughout the whole video. You know, they're not bored or anything. No dead areas too. Like when I'm editing stuff, our content for YouTube, like when there's a space, I try to cut off the filler words and the dead areas, and keeping like the ideas that's being talked about very cohesive. Yeah, stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah, that kind of style for video editing.
I see. So then with those three sort of, well, I guess I would say the three things that I see that you do would be like singing, dancing, and comedy sort of content. Do you like lean more towards one, or is there like an order of like how heavy you'd be into each one, or is it all three, or like how do you see that? Like with the
That's a good question.
types of like things you do.
I aspire to be more like for comedy. Not very like comedy, but like those like vloggers, I would say. It's not exactly comedy, but like storytellers. I'm not very good at that, but that's what I'm trying to work on, I would say.
Like what kind of story?
Like when they're just going about their day and then they're just showing that. I feel like that's a very, I would say, relaxing thing to watch nowadays. Now that like when you're eating or whatever, or just lounging at home. But yeah, that would say the type of kind of content that I'm already like drawn to and that I want to do. As far as dancing, that's always been like easy for me to do. Not that I'm good or whatever. Like I'm not great, but like it's easier for me to pull out that type of content because it's just like you set your camera down and then you just learn. You learn it for a few minutes or hours.
Like producing the content is pretty straightforward.
It is pretty straightforward. Singing also, but I feel like that's more technical for me. Especially if, I don't know, my voice is not like up to par that day or something. That's also easy. But I would say like in that order. Because dancing is, I would say, my first love. That's always been what like really, I would say I'm passionate about. I'm happy to do all the time. I know like my mom like pushed me to do more singing because that's more, she like, the Filipino culture, I would, they're more into like the singers. That's more like the popular.
Right.
That they're more popular in their perspective. But for dancers, they think, oh, they're just backup dancers. You know, it's not. They won't make as much money or whatever, or much money for as
like they're not the stars that like are the headliners or like the people that people go see. It's normally like a musical artist.
Yeah, but for me, it's as much as singing is great and everything. It's like dancing is what like makes me happy at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So then content creation, that you said that one of the main things that you want to do is more of those sort of vlog style, like influencers sharing their life and like relaxing sort of content. And I guess I already asked like what your main influences are, but so aside from that, like how did, it's like a weird question to ask because I already know the answer, but like how did JR and Blessie start and what was your approach to what you wanted to do with that sort of content?
Yeah, I think, well, like I mentioned earlier, we just both wanted to start creating content and we were just trying things. I feel like in the beginning, since we are both dancers, we tried doing the dance. I think Serendipity by Jimin was the first dance video that we did. And then like from then, sometimes we would just be in the car like talking or like messing around or whatever, just having fun. And And then one day we were just recycling old Filipino jokes. It's not even original. So, but I would say sometimes the delivery, or people just hearing those jokes one more time. Filipinos love a good comedy, good puns, and I'm a pun enthusiast.
You're a queen of puns.
I love puns so much that, and it really helped, I would say, knowing two languages. It's easier to put words that sound alike together. That's why I would say sometimes it comes easier for me to create a random pun. And then if it works for people, If not, it doesn't. Then, yeah, from like the Paul video, I would say that was our first. Was it our first popular? One of those like using a sentence ones.
Yeah, it was one of the first most viral videos. In fact, we have that one now.
Wow.
Let's see if this. Hey, Blessie.
Yes.
Can you use Paul 4 times in a sentence?
Oh, absolutely. Paul, be careful. You might fall down the swimming pool.
You're so silly.
Yep, and I'm wearing my Game Platoon shirt there. Yes. I just realized.
So that one had 10 million views on the TikTok, and then it's been reposted on Facebook and also YouTube, and other people like pirate that content. So it's like there's like tens and tens of millions of views on just that video. Yeah. But that was one of the first videos that was like whoa. And then we just started like gaining hundreds of thousands of followers after that. And then we started leaning into the whole like using a sentence stuff, and then random comedy, couple stuff and whatnot. But so I guess my question is, what was your approach? And then how does like your content stand out compared to like other things out there? And then what was the turning point that made content creation feel different for you than just kind of posting casually?
I think we just kept going. And that was like the key, is always trying to figure out like what other content we could do, like looking up other jokes, trends that we could do, just having a constant product for people to watch. And it's just like in art, like whatever you put out there, it's up to the people if they're like gonna like it or not. And then with TikTok's algorithm, it reached certain audiences, obviously some Filipinos, some couples for our couple content. So yeah, I think what worked is just constantly putting out content. Yeah.
There are people out there who put out 3 pieces of content a day and they don't get any traction. So the insights for the audience would be like, so what makes your content stand out, and like how do you build a following or get a viral video? I think most people know that, if you don't put out content, you don't do anything, right? So meaning, what do you think makes your approach stand out that created like the quote unquote success that you had?
Maybe just like the quirky side, like us being like, it's just like a breath of fresh air. Like just it's just 2 people having fun and like making jokes online, and it's just like a quick joke, and it's like an instant like, oh, that made me like laugh for a little bit kind of thing. So that kind of thing. And then for like couple and dance content, those are always just very entertaining. I would say just like we were leaning more towards just entertainment, and that's like a quick like boost of
like endorphins or serotonin. So what advice would you give to people who want to build a following or create viral videos, or like any insights on an approach to content creation that you would recommend?
I feel like what worked for us was we utilized like our skills or talents for puns. We just kept like producing them, just whatever you're good at. I would say just produce that content. Yeah. And then be authentic also. I would say that's the most important thing. Because if you enjoy what you're doing, we both enjoyed what we were doing, I would say. And people saw through that. Yeah. Like they're both just having fun.
Yeah. I think one thing I would like to add on to that is like, one thing about, because most people, they think they want to have viral videos, but viral videos don't really do anything for you. If you actually want to create content that makes an impact or build a following as like a personal brand or make people want to follow you. So the goal is more just to have followers, right? And I think the what I found in building and creating content is that people will resonate with you as a person and not necessarily like the clickbaity, trendy sort of things that, sometimes is kind of like,
I don't know. Trends out there are kind of questionable sometimes because it's okay. It's just a dumb thing, and who cares? But in order to make people want to follow you, is putting out or is creating a brand or establishing what you are as a person or as a creator and being authentic. And when you put out authentic content, then people want to follow you because they want to follow who you are and not just the trendy, clickbaity sort of content that some people put out. And given some people build like millions of followers based on like trendy, clickbaity stuff, but the audience who you really want to gain, they're not going to resonate because they don't really know the real you or what you're actually like standing for, like what you're all about.
Yeah.
So I would say that's one big thing for people who want to actually build a following is kind of establishing like what you want to put out and then being authentic to that. Like you said, identifying your skill sets, what you're good at, or like what type of content you want to put out, I feel like is really key, and not generally just chasing the trends. But even on that, like we've done videos that were like just trend chasing, and neither of us enjoyed that. It was like we're like, oh, this is so gross, because we've had couple content and it's fine, and we know that it's gonna do well because it's just so that sort of like, oh, like it's so cringy, but you know it's gonna work because that's how the algorithm is. And some people like that, but it's also like a facade because people think, oh, that's them. They're just the weird cutesy, but we're like in real life we're not like that. It's all just for entertainment purposes. It's kind of like being actors, right? We're like, okay, here's the script, here's how we're gonna act. And I found that when we followed other like couple comedy content, and there's a lot of couple like content out there, 99% of that is all fake and scripted, and it's secret camera. It's not a secret camera. They scripted this out. They planned out the shots. They got the lighting because that's what we had to do. And like that inauthenticity, I was like, is this really worth putting out?
Yeah.
Aside from that, the joke stuff, like it's fun because we enjoy comedy and humor and like fun stuff here and there. But to the point of creating authentic content to build an actual following, you have to do something that's authentically you.
Yep. And you can see through it for like other couples too. Sometimes it's, I've definitely seen like other people doing the same thing and you're just doing the trend.
Yeah.
And imagining like doing that again, I'm like,
Yeah, exactly. There's so many trends that we've done and then we're like, okay, the video did well, obviously. But we didn't really enjoy that content, which is a big reason why I don't really want to do a lot of the clickbaity, trendy content. You know, now I just like focus on content that, we both enjoy doing. So
it's like stuff that the intent of the video is one thing, and then the people take it as a completely different thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's how all art is that you can put something out there with a certain intent, but then people can receive it the way they want. That's how art works.
Yep. It's exactly what happened with, I don't know, what anymore.
Yeah, okay, so here's this video.
Telling my boyfriend I don't like my food.
I don't want it anymore.
Okay, that's it.
Chicken?
Yeah, we already had chicken earlier.
Okay, so you can watch it. I'll link to that video. That's our most viral video, like 15 million just on TikTok.
It's still going.
And again, also on Facebook, also on YouTube, also on Instagram, and it's super viral. But that video, neither of us are like that. And neither of us have ever done that, but we got known for that. And then some people like it because they know it's like for fun. But some people really hate it on Blessie because, oh my gosh, she's so annoying. I just want to smack her. And you're like, it's fake, guys. Like most things online, it's fake. And then so you became that, I don't want it anymore.
I did become that. And then people just, I would say, mocking that. But like, they're just, or sometimes they're just having fun with the baby voice. Like, They want to do the baby voice to their partner too, so they just try that line or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they get smacked or whatever. I don't know, depending on their plan for that skit.
Yeah. I was going to ask, like, what are some of your, on like Jared and Blessie stuff, what are some of the your favorite videos or favorite stories, if you can remember any?
Ooh, why is the first thing coming up? Like us meeting like other influencers and like we met Happy Slip. She is also a Filipino comedian.
I think she was like a big influence for both of us too, because she's like one of the first like Filipino YouTubers, OG YouTubers, 2006, 8, 2008, whatever.
That was so cool.
So so we linked on TikTok because she saw our stuff, and then we ended up creating a TikTok together, and so that was cool. So now we know each other.
What she told us was she was just trying to get onto TikTok at the time, and so literally what she did was search up Filipino comedy, and our stuff came up, and so I don't even, was it her who reached out or us?
I don't remember. Yeah, but we ended up like getting on a phone call with her, like talking about like how we approach TikTok, and she like really appreciated it, and then we filmed using a sentence. I'll link it in the show notes too. Yep. But that was cool.
Yeah, and then I also met like RJ Random Ridge. and then AGRFL as well, which is like crazy. Like we were just at Rodeo 39, I think.
Yeah,
and
in
then
Stanton,
and then the fact that AGRFL recognized me, I was like, me? And then I just fangirled or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are always nice, like a perk of being an influencer. Or whatever.
Yeah. We're like micro famous in some circles. Like
Yeah.
whenever I go to like Jollibee or a seafood city, or when we went to the Philippines last year, you can tell Blessie's a little bit like less perceptive than I am because I'm just very hyper perceptive. But I can tell when someone's looking at us because, well, first off, my instinct whenever I hear Tagalog, I'm like, oh, someone's gonna know. And if they're like our age or younger and they're on TikTok, I'm OA. And then I'll notice like when we walked around in Philippines, like if someone stares at us, like or looks at us, makes eye contact, and then they look away, and then they look back for a second time, I'm like they recognize me or her or both of us. And it's also funny because by ourselves, we may or may not be recognized, but together, people are like, "Oh, I know them," because we're like a one sort of couple.
Right. A few weeks ago, like
ago.
outside like
Still
a store.
yeah.
Some girl was like, "Oh, are you guys Jared and Blessie?"
Yeah.
'Cause when you arrived, that's when she pointed out.
Mhm.
But when I was just me, she was probably like, "She looks familiar."
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one time I was at the gym during the pandemic, like outside, and then some guy crossed the parking lot, went up to me and was like, "Blessie," and I was like, "JR, close enough." But it's because Blessie's name is obviously more iconic, like memorable, because it's like more unique, at least in the US.
She's more Filipino.
Yeah. And then obviously she's in a lot. She's like the face of most of our most viral videos, so people recognize her face more. And so he probably just didn't. He was just like, Blessie, right? Yeah, it's my girlfriend. But anyways,
Right.
And then just the random people who come up to us and ask for a photo, like still happens to this day. But every time I like hear Tagalog or we're in a place like Artesia or Cerritos with a lot of Filipinos, okay, I know. Even Jollibee, I'm like, okay, the workers are staring at us. I know who we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So it's a cool thing, but it's not like, at least for me personally, it's like I could be uber famous and it doesn't really like matter to me personally. Even when I meet other famous people, I'm just like, oh hey, AJ Raphael, what's a hire you, man? And then Blessie's just freaking out. Like, oh
I'm
my God.
the opposite.
She's the opposite. She's like, oh my God, AJ Raphael.
Like the frantic fan versus the
It's like,
cool,
oh,
you're a
you're a
human
normal
being
person.
also.
Yeah, you're a human just like me. That's cool.
yeah.
That's how I approach fame.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, any other memorable encounters in public or fun stories?
I feel like I'm just
Being
forgetting
famous.
it all, but there are definitely others. Oh, like when we get featured on BuzzFeed and stuff.
Yeah, that was
Those
cool
are
too.
cool. The first time that we were featured, I was like, wow.
Yeah, a lot of people
We
were posting it
recognize
and messaging me
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like even some of my family and friends from high school, they're like, "Oh my God, it's you!" I'm like, "Oh
Yeah, or random pages, like the ones that just repost other
right,
people's
like the comedy
content.
content or a couple content, Filipino
Yeah.
content."
Yeah, those are always like, oh, they think our content is funny enough to be posted on your,
Yeah,
feed.
exactly.
Or they're just trying to get more content, whatever it is.
Exactly.
It's still getting more traction.
Yeah. So, like in terms of content creation or everything in general, what are your plans for the future? What do you like want to do moving forward? Like goals, aspirations?
Yeah, I would say we're gonna try to post a little bit more because before what we were doing were trends and what was popular. Maybe we could try something else, be a little bit more showing our daily lives, just like
Just figure out how to do vlogging and make it easy.
yeah.
The biggest
we'll
things
see.
for me is I don't mind doing vlogs, but I don't want to do any of the content like editing and managing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because
I'll do
it's
it.
it's so tedious and a hassle. Will you actually do it?
Yeah, I will.
'Cause
I
you've been
just need
saying
to
that.
start. I know.
Exactly.
I will.
Okay, whatever you say. It's different because obviously
I-
I'm her boyfriend, so when
Right.
she says something, I'm like, Whereas a friend, I'll be like, sure, yeah, I believe you.
Right.
I'm just
yeah.
like,
yeah,
sure, we'll
he
see.
knows that I've been slacking.
Yeah. Because if you really want to do it, you would do it.
I
So if you
know.
don't do it right now, but anyways, just for the
Right.
openness of the question, if
Yeah,
you did have any
now-
plans,
it's out in the world
so
now.
you still want to do content creation or specifically vlogging, I feel like you would really enjoy that. I think you just need to get into a system where
Yeah.
it's easy for you and not like tedious, so that you will enjoy it and is sustainable. Because that's my personal approach to content creation is I never want to do anything that's so tedious that makes me not want to do it. Because for example, podcasting, I want to do this for the next 10 years. And so therefore I set up a system so that it's so easy that it's not like a trek or like a burden to do this content creation, and like outsourcing or making things simple and not complicated. And that's how I do it. And the same with all of the other content that I personally do. So if you can find a way to make the content creation more seamless and less of a burden, or outsource it to someone that you trust that's really good at that stuff, then you can definitely do the vlogging. 'Cause especially all the big YouTubers out there, I know they have followings and they have the budget for it.
Yeah.
But if you had found a way where you can find an editor to outsource all that stuff, I feel like it'd be easier for you to
Yeah,
do.
because it's so like overwhelming.
Exactly.
Thinking about like the
Yeah, or like
editing and like the even the shooting.
yeah,
can be-
exactly. It's
Because
like
it's like you just want to go about your day. And you don't want
Exactly,
to have
like
to
it
set
is
up the
processed.
camera and everything.
that's the other reason why I don't like doing content when we're out is because I want to hang out with
Yeah.
my girlfriend. I don't want to film content, especially
Yeah.
when most of that content is fake.
right.
So I really have an aversion to trying to film content when we're out.
yeah.
And so I'd rather make time to just spend time with her and not do all that stuff. Because we did that for a year and a half straight, at least one video per day,
Yeah.
just as an experiment to see how far we can go with it. And then afterwards, I'm like, all right, I'm burnt out. I don't enjoy any of this. The fun stuff is fun, but I don't really enjoy the macro process of it. And so now I focus on content that I like doing, that I feel is value added, not just like trendy, weird sort of
Right.
stuff. Again, not to say that other stuff we do, but it's more just like that's what gets the views. Is all the
It is,
weird
yeah.
clickbaity stuff.
Mhm.
But
Or we could just karaoke every Friday at Let's
yeah,
Talk Us.
but it's as long as like the content is easy and it doesn't disrupt like my priorities or our priorities, which is like each other and our own stuff, then I wouldn't mind doing it. But whatever your goals are for that, I'm along for the ride. I just
Yeah.
it's just we have a lot of stuff going on
We
because
do.
you also dance more now since you're
I
on
do.
Shiro.
Yeah.
Speaking of Shiro, I don't know if we'll get to this, but we're on our last topic. But let me show
Yes.
you Blessie. So yeah, she's on Shiro. This is her choreography. I just want to show you all. Wow, the eye roll look.
Side eye.
Side eye.
Whoa.
Wow. Wow. Is that you? Is that Blessie from Jared Blessie?
Hey.
Okay, and we're done. Yeah, I just want to show off your choreography.
That's Shirley's and Linda's.
Yeah. Wait, which part did you choreograph?
Oh wait, that is my card.
That is your
Sorry.
girl. Unless you've been lying to me, you're like, I choreographed this.
No,
I'm like, she choreographed this.
I really did.
And you're like,
I meant like
someone else.
most of
Yeah, the
most
rest of
of
the set, right?
this.
But that was your part.
that was my part.
Exactly.
I choreographed
So,
it with
see, I
Darren.
am right.
Yes.
No, it's just her.
Oh.
But anyways, so I guess we won't talk about Shiro, but that's pretty much it. Next topic, pivot switch, is so life as an immigrant. I know this is one of the things that you talked about, like one of the topics you want to talk about. And I think it'd be interesting for our audience, but like cultural differences of Philippines versus US. So obviously you have a lot of family all over the US, but also in the Philippines. And you moved here when you're like middle school, high school-ish. And then some of the content that you produce is also kind of like that, the comparison of the culture.
Yeah.
So I guess is there any specific thing you want to start off with? Like with the differences or culture-wise?
I would say differences that I'm noticing, it's not particularly one versus the other. It's more like Filipinos, like in the mainland and like in the U.S.
Like the differences
It's
between people who
more-
are here and
Right.
over there.
Yeah. It's more, well, obviously, it's like Filipino Americans are very different from Filipinos, I would say. Despite, the skin color being the same and everything. Food
Same
is
heritage,
all,
food, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Filipinos that I met here are very different from even humor. I would say is just a little bit different. It's everybody resonates with the same type of humor, but it's still different. Maybe because language, I don't know. But yeah, and I don't know. Moving on to maybe one thing that I don't resonate with this is the fact that like when some people kind of clock Filipinos for not being Filipino enough. For example,
Like
Filipino
gatekeeping or
Americans,
something?
yeah, especially not being able to speak the language, and it's they grew up here,
Mhm.
so you can't like kind of dock them Filipino points.
It's like a sense of superiority or
Yeah.
like talking down to someone just because they don't speak a language that you
yeah,
speak.
hmm
I get the sentiment, but like obviously also as a Filipino American myself who doesn't speak like Tagalog or Pangasinan what like my parents speak. So one time recently a friend asked me, like, oh, do you speak like Tagalog or anything? And I was like, oh no, I don't, but not by choice. It's not
Right.
it's not like I chose not to learn. It was just my
Yeah.
parents didn't teach me or whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but it's a little bit different for celebrities. It's if they're like a 16th Filipino, they're like, oh, Filipino pride, and it's like, why aren't you showing that same like vibe with your friends and family? And it's when you hear like the elders or whatever saying, oh, they don't speak Tagalog, like you should learn. They're like already pushing you to do it. Well, they can if they want, but yeah, I would say that's kind of like the thing that kind of, I don't know, pet peeve, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, some little.
Any other like main differences between the two cultures, whether Filipinos versus Filipino Americans, or like living examples, like weird or interesting examples?
Mm, nothing much really, but I would say from that like kind of observation, I I found like the importance of teaching your kids the language. I would say just to preserve the culture, like having them learn. Like I know for like younger people, it might be like not cool to speak like your own native language, or like they feel embarrassed or
Yeah.
whatever. Like the food is like smelly or whatever, but like later on in life, like most of the people who had that experience, I hear that they wish that they like embraced the culture a little bit more.
They didn't have that
Yeah.
response to it as a kid.
Yeah, so I would say it starts with your parents, just having them make your kids feel like
Or
it's
pride in your
okay.
culture and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's some cultures or families that have more
Yeah.
pride in their heritage and stuff, but there are some that don't emphasize it.
Mm-hmm.
And I never understood the whole like, oh, but I'm embarrassed to speak my language or bring my food around. But I get it because it's, you want to be Americanized or fit in and stuff like that. And you don't want to seem weird and you want
Right.
friends. So as kids or teenagers, I get that sentiment.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, most people when they grow up, oh, but I really do appreciate my heritage. And then now I wish I leaned into it more as a
Yeah,
kid.
it's nice having these people realize,
The
but then they
importance
can
of their
start
heritage.
then. It's never too late to start learning about it
Yeah.
and like, incorporating it with your life and your family's life,
Mhm.
But yeah.
Like leaning into their heritage and whatnot and being proud of it. Are there any other hot takes? One of the things that comes to mind, and you can veer off from this, but is to call out all of the older Filipino people too, like the toxic Filipino culture.
There's a lot.
Yeah, so there's a lot, obviously, and I guess if Filipinos, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of great things about Filipino culture. Like there's the generosity, there's like the like the
Hospitality.
hospitality and like the family vibes. Like a lot of like Asian cultures, people like live in the same households and they respect their elders and they take care of each other. And even if like people don't have anything, they still give to other people who have less. People in poverty helping other people as well. So there's a lot of amazing things about Filipino culture and Filipino people. The dark sides of it, which like every culture has, is that there's also some of that like toxic. Well, there's that, like the gossipy, toxic sort of, and like you said, the comparison culture. And it's not exclusive to Filipinos, but it's one of the things that is a hallmark of that. Is I don't know how many conversations I've had with my sister or a lot of other people. It's there's a thing, and then all the aunties start talking about it, and it blew up to another thing, and now everyone's had this miscommunication, and it's like, why did all this stress and friction and toxic stuff have to come up only because people just wanted to gossip? I mean, it's like a one of the commandments is to not gossip.
One of the commandments.
Isn't it not? Yeah, like the don't kill. Yeah, don't kill. Don't gossip. Don't adult.
Okay,
Don't
maybe
cause adultery.
maybe,
It literally is. Someone feel free to fact check me on that. But I'm like, yeah, that's always been a big thing. But I was like, okay, but Filipinos are totally fine gossiping. Like it's like a part of their culture. They just have to know everything. So that's one of the hot takes that I feel strongly about. I was like, I hate that, the miscommunication, the assumptive thinking. Like someone doesn't say something, so you assume 10 other things, and then you pass that along. And I'm like, you didn't need to do that. That's what annoys me a lot.
Yeah, very big on the comparison thing. Because
And comparison.
It's what is this accomplishing? You think comparing your kid to another is gonna help them do better? It's just gonna make them feel bad. Oh, I'm not enough for my parent, then therefore I need to be like my cousin or whatever, or whoever's family friend, and then they just feel worse about themselves.
Yeah, it doesn't help anyone else. And also, again, it's not exclusive to Filipino culture, but those parents who live vicariously through their kids because they, again, shout out to the parents who work hard and they're trying to give their kids a better future. But there are those parents who like put all that pressure on their kid and expect them to do, oh, I did all this, so you better do this for me. It's, wait, that's not what parents are supposed to be like. At least that's not what I learned from my mom.
Yeah.
But it's you should be supporting your family and then you should be successful yourself and be an example, not force your kids to be successful because you never could or because you made excuses and now you couldn't do it,
Yeah. And having kids as an investment, it's not supposed to be that
is
way.
not. Kids are not investments.
Yeah.
They're people that you love and accept and
Right.
support and help them become the best version of themselves.
Yeah, very big on, there's a phrase in Tagalog called utang na loob, literally translating to like debt inside. Like you're indebted, you feel indebted from like someone. So it's the utang na loob to your parents is now you have to support them as an adult or whatever, that kind of thing. A lot of people have been saying like that's something that we can maybe stop, because it's not very, your kids have their own lives too. They're like you brought your kids out to the world because you love them. I don't know. It's not. They're not like a bank or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to say that mine are, because they're amazing, but
Right.
there's a lot of Filipino like families who have that in their mindset, which we can just not.
Right. One of the last hot takes I have is also too that toxic like elder respect culture. And again, like always respect your elders, but the dark side of that is when elders think they're immune from question or criticism for their bad decisions just because they're older. And it's, oh, do what I say. And if they're doing something toxic or unhealthy or obnoxious or just generally bad, and they're like, no, but because I'm the adult or I'm older or whatever. No. We're trying to make good decisions for everyone, and we're trying to do the best possible thing. But just because you're older and or parents and or grandparents does not mean you have full immunity to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like you should be questioned, and that's not without respect. Obviously be respectful, but that's one of the things that bothers me a lot. And I appreciate, my family, my parents, because they're not really like that. But I know a lot of people, like Filipinos especially, will always run into that. And it's like, a lot of the kids get messed up because they're like have all of this sort of thing inside that's built up because it's like their parents tell them what to do. They put those unhealthy expectations. They're very toxic, and then they can't live their own lives or grow into their own people because their parents did that to them. And it's, of course, they have a lot to be grateful for their parents being for them. But then there's the downside to that if you don't do it right. Like my mom was like 20, 22 when she became a mom and stuff. Other families, like they learn from their parents and they probably pass along that generational trauma.
Yep.
And then, so a lot of times they become parents young, so they're really just kids too.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally get that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Anything else on Filipino culture or any thoughts or hot takes?
Really, I can't think of anything right now.
All right, then we can move into rapid fire questions. You ready?
Sure.
Cool. All right. So first one, the billboard question. So if you could put up a sign for millions of people to see, what would it say?
I thought about this for a little bit. The first thing that comes to mind is no one is thinking about you. Yeah. A lot of people tend to overthink, like, oh my God, what if they think this way about me? But also I thought about that at the same time. Like, no one is thinking about you, so they're going to feel sad when they see it. It's okay, maybe it could be something else. So
I mean, it's good because it's all art, right? It's up to interpretation.
Yeah. So that would be my main answer. But like the general thing that I could also put there, like maybe if I was one of those accident insurance companies that have many billboards, it's just one after the other. But anyway, the next one would just be kind. Like kindness just goes a long way. Like in general, like it's just like the blueprint for most things.
Yeah.
Just kindness is nice.
Yeah. There is that. Okay, so again, I'm going into dangerous waters trying to quote the Bible. I'm not going to quote it, paraphrasing. But what I learned from my pastor, there is a Bible verse that I think talks about the whole, you're criticizing or looking at there's like a log or stick in your eye or their eye. Okay, let me try to like the idea is that there's something in your eye, so it looks bigger than what it is, but to someone else, it's like a little speck.
Oh, okay.
So your perspective is going to make something make it bigger, but to someone else, they'd barely see it.
Right, yeah.
And so with the whole no one is thinking about you, I totally get that. Wow, nice. So yeah, New International Version, Matthew 7:3-5. Why do you look at the speck sawdust in your brother's eye? Pay no attention to the plank in your own eye. Okay, so I had that reversed, but meaning you're criticizing someone else's little dot, but then really there's a huge thing in your eye. And then so it's like focusing on some other people.
Yeah.
But it's, focusing on yourself.
Yeah, because I know you're in your own head. You think that you're the center of the world, probably in your own world, but
of course,
no one's thinking about you. No one's thinking that you messed up 5 years ago and you tripped and fell and whatever. I don't know.
No,
it really releases the burden from whatever you're thinking about.
It's a perspective shift. Yep. All right, second one. What is one of the hardest challenges you face in your life? What did you learn from it?
I'd say from what I've felt intensely, felt like I went to the depression mode, it's more like financial stuff. Like, the first time that I felt like waking up, I didn't want to wake. Like I wanted to go back to sleep and dream, kind of thing. Was when I couldn't find a job when I just got out of college. That one, and then also the other one was when I totaled my car, and so I bought a new car, and now I'm in this debt that I didn't want to have. So it's those situations, but how I got through that is just recognizing the feeling and then moving forward really is the only way. Just like looking for what you can control, like what you can change for yourself, and then going for it. That's all we can do. We can't just like mope around and feel sorry for ourselves. We gotta keep going. So that's just what I did, trying to gain the courage to or strength to move forward. I know it can be hard, but you just really gotta find something to hold on to.
Mhm. So identifying your feelings
Yes.
and then not ruminating on that for a
Yes.
long time and moving forward with some
Yeah.
sort of action.
Mhm.
All right, this one is called self-inflicted wound. So do you have a story about something that's gone wrong in your life that is your own fault and you can't blame anyone else but yourself?
Yeah, I feel like it's something that I'm constantly learning still. When I don't plan for things, I'm a mess after that. So it's like when I don't prepare, the quote that says, "If you fail to plan, you plan to fail."
Mhm.
That kind of situation. So yeah, just l- keeping myself in check and just preparing for whatever I need to do instead of, because I'm very much a person of just go with the flow, like wing it, because I'm very much that. So I'm still learning that, but yeah, just remembering to plan. I feel like that will never not go wrong. Yeah, that will always work out, I would say, some way or another. If it doesn't, then at least you learn from that, but at least you're prepared.
I think I'm the opposite, but it's also, we recognize that opposites attract. So I think that's why
Oh.
I don't have that problem, but
Yes, you don't.
because I'm the opposite. All right. If you could redo one thing, what would you do differently?
Start dancing earlier.
You've been
Like-
dancing since you were born because you're Filipino.
That's right. I came out of the womb dancing.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. No, but back in I'm just remembering, back in college, there were no dance teams or anything. Back in Washington State, which is where I, went to college for.
Washington people don't dance.
They do, but just not in my city, probably.
Oh,
Because
boo.
I didn't know about it, at least. I kind of wish I did what you did and moved to a college
That has
just for
dancing.
dance.
Yeah, thanks for calling me out. I moved to UCI just to dance.
You
and
did,
and I am
and that
not even
inspired me.
joking. I'm like, that's explicit. Like, I'm from the Bay, you know
Mhm.
this, and then I moved to SoCal UCI specifically because Cabo Modern was down there.
Yeah.
And my friend who went there, because they were on America's But Dance Crew, and then my friend who went there was like, "Yeah, the dance scene here is crazy." I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go down there because I want to dance."
Right. And
So,
yeah, I wish I got
Not to
do
study,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
not to study, not to make a career, but just to dance because I knew that's what I wanted to
I
do.
did do like as much dancing as I could, though. Like I joined like organizations that had like dance performances and stuff like that. So yeah, that and starting my high yield savings account earlier would have been nice, but it's still nice to start now.
Yeah.
For those of you who haven't yet.
Wow, financial advice.
Yeah.
If you could give your younger self advice, what would it be now? It's similar to redo, but this is more of like, I guess, personal talking to you outside of what you already said, I guess.
I feel like, well, I've already said it. I will maybe start thinking about the fact that no one is thinking about you.
Start thinking that no one's thinking about you.
Yeah, because maybe like when I was younger, I cared a lot about what other people thought, but I learned on my own that no one's really thinking about you. And also loving yourself would
Nice.
be a good tip for anyone, any young person.
In the last few years, what new belief, behavior, or habit has improved your life?
This improved my life. The skincare, I would say. Yeah, just like taking care of my body. There we go. Taking care of my body,
So not just your face.
not just my face.
Okay.
Yeah. Like before when I was like young, I didn't really do any moisturizing, like stuff like that. And also eating vegetables is
Vegetables.
it's funny because JR still to this day puts
Eats her
vegetables
broccoli.
on my plate.
She's like a little kid that eats and eat vegetables.
Yeah. Because it's nice when it's coated in sesame oil. Anyway, yeah. Taking care of myself has been a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's
Sleep,
not the best.
drink water, eat vegetables. The normal stuff that you have to remind your girlfriend to do because they don't do it.
Oh yeah, generalizations.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, this one's true. All right. Who would you call successful and how do you define success?
Bretman Rock. I have a quick answer for that.
Why?
Mainly because he's doing
Filipino.
he's doing what I want to do it, not the taking care of chickens and stuff like that.
And deadlifting and,
And-
being buff.
Yeah, amazing.
Oh, you,
but
don't,
like,
you don't want to be buff.
no, I mean, no, I don't.
I mean, no.
No, well, the fact that, he was able to create his content online and make money from that. And then also he gets to just do whatever he wants now that he's set. Whatever he wants to do, he wants to test coconut waters or grow his own chickens, whatever.
We love growing chickens.
Yeah. And
Don't raise chickens, grow them. That's the hack.
Ray, sorry, my
That's how-
English is not.
She speaks Tagalog.
You're no, but yeah. And I would say Bread Rock is a product of being surrounded by people who support you and accept you for who you are. Because he grew up with his family just accepting that he's gay. No one really discriminated against him, as far as I know. So, like, when you just foster, like, a kid or help him just be authentically who they are, and then they can just, like, grow into the person that they want to be, then they likely will be successful in their own way. And so, yeah. Anyway.
So, lesson to parents:
Yes.
love and accept your kids,
Yes.
so they can be buff
Mm.
and gay and famous.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, Bretman Rock. I love watching his stories.
Nice. If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you try, or what would you be doing right now?
Couldn't fail. I would just keep, I don't know, dancing and singing. I feel
Same stuff.
same stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What is one of the best or most worthwhile investments you've ever made in time, money, or energy, etc.?
Honing in on my skills as a dancer. Just taking more learning more dances. I was gonna say taking more dance classes, but I don't really do that too much. But just practicing and also, as you say, investments. Just investing in my financial
Yeah.
future, like so the high yield savings account, 401k, stuff like that.
So actual investments.
Yeah, actual investments.
Actual retirement investments. Nice.
Yes.
Favorite recent purchase under or within $50 to $100 that has impacted your life the most in the last 6 months?
I forgot to bring it. It's my fan.
Your supporter?
My supporter. Well, I would say to anyone, like,
Oh, I'll link it in the show.
Yes.
So you can get that affiliate link.
thank you. But yeah, for the past few months, because it was like summertime and I dance a lot and I unfortunately sweat a lot. So,
You're a human?
yes. So, having that fan with me has been like a life changer.
So it's a portable electric
It is.
battery fan,
Yeah.
and it has a lanyard so you can hang it around your neck, and then
Yeah.
the head swivels a bit so like you can angle it differently.
Yeah.
I also bought it because it seemed convenient and it was
Yes.
super hot this summer, so
Yep.
highly
Yeah.
recommend it.
And it's just like knowing yourself and then investing in like any product that will help your life be better. It's always a good investment.
All right, so last rapid fire. Any favorite books, movies, videos, articles, or media that you share or recommend the most?
Yeah, as far as books, I like Everything Matters! by Ron Curie Jr.
So everything matters.
Yes, Everything Matters.
Mm.
And Big Magic by
Mm.
who is it?
Elizabeth Gilbert.
Yes, that's right. That's the one.
Wow. Like I read
You
books
should-
or something.
Yeah, you should check out his book summaries, Yonocruz.com.
Love me or something.
Yes.
Keep plugging my stuff.
Yes.
You want a date?
Yeah, maybe like after this,
Yeah. At marlayonocruz.com. I reviewed that book. Highly
Mm.
recommend it. I'll link it too.
Yeah. I like her notion that like ideas are living things that
Mm.
can just like, I don't know, she brings out like good points on that. And as far as Everything Matters, it's literally about how everything matters. Like you think that the thing that you're doing is just whatever, you're just going through life. The choices you make every day lead to whatever else that can happen later. So yeah, those are really interesting.
Nice.
And another one, last one. I just watched it recently. It's called My Old Ass.
Mm.
And what's her name?
I know what you're talking about.
Oh,
Audrey.
not Hepburn.
Yeah, no. Or
Oh, freak. I
yeah, I know what
forgot.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
She's the one that has like really good like deadpan face. And is, like,
does.
is a like a
Frick,
comedic
I'm
actor.
sorry, everyone who's.
We'll link her in the movie. But so, what did you like about it?
And, well,
Audrey Plaza.
Ed Plaza, yes, thank you.
It's Aubrey.
Oh, sorry,
Aubrey,
Aubrey.
I'm sorry.
My bad. My bad. It was
My
an
bad,
A.
my
Aubrey
bad.
Plaza.
Okay, thank you. But yeah, it's about this teenager who meets her old self after taking some drugs. Don't take drugs. Don't take drugs. Okay. And then the older self, teaches her life like lessons, I guess, like things that she can do to help better their lives. And you just see the progression of how those advices work, how they don't work. I don't know. And it's just a really fun, feel-good movie. And
you cried.
I cried.
I knew it.
Any movie that makes me cry, it's top of my list.
Mm,
Yep, just like The Woman King.
nice. Oh yeah. Also, so you recommend The Woman King?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And last one. Sorry.
Oh.
Three Idiots. That's my
That's like your
ultimate
favorite movie.
Yeah, because it talks about
Idiots.
yeah. I hate you. 3 college students going through their college experience and like just going after their dreams, navigating through like the pressures of society of being the best, having like academic success or whatever, and how good, how bad it could be. Yeah, it's really interesting, and there's songs because it's a Bollywood movie. But yeah, there's very
Bollywood
like
movies.
interesting points in that movie too. So
Yeah, I need to watch more Bollywood movies because Bollywood movies like
they're lit.
they're dope. Yeah, they rock. They rock really hard, especially if you like dancing and singing.
Yep.
All right, that is it for rapid fire questions. So we'll go into ending questions. So of course, gratitude. Blessie, what are you grateful for?
I'm always grateful for good health. I feel like a lot of us can take it for granted, but every time especially with our healthcare system and me working for an insurance company,
Yes,
I
yeah.
would love to not ever be in a situation where like my health is like declining or whatever.
Mhm.
For any of my family members, just like good health is always something to be grateful for.
All right, any final ask from the audience or final takeaways you want them to have from this conversation?
No one's thinking about you.
Just reiterate. You think people's thinking about you? They are not.
Yeah,
They're
I
thinking
feel
about their own
we're
damn
all
selves.
in our heads, and just do what you want to do. As long as you're not, it's not at the expense of someone. It's not hurting anyone. Just do whatever you want to, what your heart wants you to do, what you're passionate about. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
All right. So where can we find you? Like social media handles, websites, emails, etc. Like where can they reach out if they want to connect or see what you're up to?
I'm at blessie.mp4. That's BLESSIE.mp4.
Nice.
And at JR and Blessie for our content.
Nice.
RANDBLESSIE.
Instagram, TikTok, and also YouTube.
Yep, they're
for
all
all
the
those
same.
things.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Blessie, for all of the great insights and your story and journey. I feel like a lot of people will learn a lot from that. And this is a very interesting conversation for me because it's like I already know all of this
Yep.
stuff. So I'm like
You do.
trying to pretend like, oh, I'm so
Like,
curious
wow.
about what this answer could be. I don't even
Yeah.
know. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yep.
I can probably answer these for you. But, you know,
Yeah,
anyways,
you really could have just
yeah.
had your own interview.
no, it's okay. I mean, it's fun. We get to talk and people get to meet you for themselves.
Mhm.
All right. So, yeah, again, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Mhm.
Yeah, of course. It's great to catch up because we never really talk ever.
Yeah.
Sarcasm. Yeah. And so, just to sign off from my audience. So, thank you guys again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Again, this is a reminder to always be kind to other people, especially yourself, and that you can always learn something from someone if you just take the time to listen. So, thank you very much.